Good evening, campers. It's me, Kieran. Today we are going to talk about The Way of Kings, Part 1 by Brandon Sanderson. Brandon Sanderson is probably the most beloved fantasy writer of our current time. Not only does he have quite a vast bibliography, he was the person who was chosen by Robert Jordan's widow to continue on the Wheel of Time series. He also has a YouTube channel where he puts on his lectures on creative writing up for free, and also gives updates and gives advice to his audience and budding writers in weekly episodes. All in all, Brandon Sanderson on that front is a stellar gentleman, and I wish there were more writers like that. He's not shy to talk about his mistakes, his failures, what works for him, but what might not work for you. His entire process, really, if you wanted to understand how a Sanderson novel is written, is all blueprinted for you. He's loved, he's lauded, he's adored, and everyone, when a new Sanderson novel drops, people pounce and people devour them. Wanting to understand the cosmere, I went for the one that most people have the most cathartic experience with, and that is the Stormlight Archive, of which The Way of Kings is the first, which talks about an assassin. Well, it doesn't. It talks about Kaladin, who's a soldier, who's then a slave. No, it's about Shella. Actually, we just ignore her for 300 pages, so it's not about her. This is one of the difficulties of epic fantasy, is that when you have a book series this big, you need to set everything up. You need to be able to explain it in a way, especially in the very dense, complex cosmere. Now, Sanderson does something that bothers me, which is he won't tell you something until you begin to question it, such as one of the characters. And I'm not here to give a plot summary. There's enough reviews out there. Most people watching this have read it, so you know the story, but I'm going to keep this in the realm of if you haven't. There's a character who's enslaved to people, and he has to do whatever they say, and he ends up cutting himself, he ends up doing horrendous acts, but he can't kill himself, and he'll state that when someone tells him can he do it. We also have the introduction of Spren that I still don't think I fully grasp what's going on there, but it's almost akin to his dark materials and how the animals work, but the animals are only seen and visible and heard by their owner, I think. Information is leaked out in a way that's almost rhythmic, and when you begin to see maybe a plot hole or a loophole, that's the moment where Sanderson comes in and fills the information for you, which could be satisfying to some people and almost rewarding us when you start going, hey, what's going on here? Sanderson's there going, don't worry fam, I got you. But ultimately what people talk about when it comes to Stormlight is Kaladin. Sad, depressing Kaladin, who's really not as sad as everyone makes out. Maybe he is in the later books, but no, come on people, no, he's not that sad. Kaladin has a fall from grace, being one of the best soldiers brought down to a slave, and through a moment where they try to besiege him, they try to kill the slaves, he has enough tact, he has enough military knowledge to assemble the slaves to fight back, which makes everyone go, whoa, we gotta keep an eye out for Kaladin. But military tact and violence almost go hand in hand where this is set in Roshar, and we learn through Roshar through flashbacks, through fables, through tales, through storytelling. We'll understand this landscape that is devoured in war and swords, where people are pitted against each other consistently. Some people are going to have the advantage with the use of shard blades and shard plates, which almost grants invincibility. Talking about flashbacks, we almost have this Salman Rushdie-esque fixation on, let's just tell you the backstory to most of the characters here, and they are a lot of characters. Regarding the world building, there's a map, everything makes sense. I don't particularly understand why people talk about world building to such a degree. It makes sense. The magic system, it makes sense because he explains everything to you. I mean, look, all in all, this is okay. It's pretty run-of-the-mill. I'm not enamoured. I'm not desperate to pick up part 2. I think this is run-of-the-mill, but if you want to start off reading epic fantasy, I wouldn't persuade you in a different direction. I think Sanderson knows what he's doing. I feel comfortable in Sanderson's hands, and it's okay. And for that, The Way of Kings Part 1 gets a 5 out of 10. You weren't expecting that, were you? I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. And that's pretty good, eh?